Welcome back to another episode of the Tip Share. This week, we're going to cover what to consider when setting up payroll for your restaurant. What is payroll for a restaurant? You might be asking, how does payroll work? That is, what should payroll look like for a restaurant? All right, we'll start with the basics. What is payroll? Payroll is the business process of regularly paying out all of your wage, payroll tax, and benefit liabilities to employees. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper now. Wages are employee earnings. Payroll taxes are the percent of earnings dedicated to taxes, particularly FICA, Social Security, and MEDFICA, Medicare. Benefits are any payments you make on behalf of your employees in a manner specified by their employment contract, such as contributions to a health savings account, HSA. But how should operators process payroll in the context of a restaurant? That's up next, and here's how to perform restaurant payroll. Some common considerations for your payroll setup to pay attention to. Any restaurant payroll guide worth its salt should include clear instructions on what to do and what not to do. That's what we're going to aim to do here. Probably the most important thing is to pay your team weekly. Our first tip is to run your payroll weekly rather than bi-weekly or monthly. There are several advantages to this. It makes it easier for hourly employees to manage their finances as they receive money every week in relative, consistent amounts, making budgeting more straightforward. Employee income is much better documented, allowing them to qualify more easily for things like student and vehicle loans. Weekly payroll makes it easier for the business to accurately track and manage cash because they don't spend as much time accruing a cash liability. In conjunction with charge tips on checks, weekly payroll provides audit transparency regarding direct and indirect tipped employees. It's common practice for an auditor to use an employee's W-2 against the payroll register. The auditor notices that the charge tips don't match and starts asking for the tip ledger for support staff and kitchen personnel. RASI has documented a 26% increase in employee retention for businesses that run weekly payroll. This is due to the increased employee satisfaction. We strongly advise making payday Monday or Tuesday when running your weekly payroll. This best practice allows you to compress your administrative work into slower days and include the previous weekend's pay in the check. So as we can see, this benefits not only the employee, but also the business in many ways. Our next tip is to spend the time to get your employee profiles and paperwork in order. It gets you set up correctly in the eyes of the law, which is really essential to avoid fines later. The basics of paperwork are to have Form W-4 and Form I-9 for each employee. The W-4 calculates federal tax withholding per paycheck, while the I-9 covers employment authorization and identity. Now, this may seem like a very simple step, but doing the paperwork correctly up front will save you a headache later on. As a business, you need an EIN, an employer identification number from the government that you'll use to file your taxes. Depending on your cash flow flexibility, you can either set up a dedicated payroll bank account to pay employees or keep a single account. Cash management is always more simple when money clears only one account. However, restaurants in tight cash positions may find it better to have a dedicated payroll account so they know what money is set aside for taxes as those checks clear. Implementing digital pay methods. We recommend that you set up direct deposits or digital pay cards for all of your employees. Doing so eliminates the uncertainty around when employees cash their checks, which can pose difficulties to consistent cash flow management. Digital pay options, known as Earned Wage Access, EWA, create many benefits for employees and employers. This can be achieved through your accounting software integration with your point of sale system for daily wage payout or the use of pay cards connected to digital banks. Never miss payroll. This tip may seem obvious, but it bears mentioning because of its importance. You need to pay your people on time, every time, consistently. Stick to the schedule no matter how low your cash reserves get. Employees are dependent on their wage checks to meet basic living expenses and likely can't afford a late payment of their earned wages. Ignoring your payroll is a quick way to generate ill will with employees, and trust is slow to rebuild once you've broken those expectations. Unreliable paychecks are a sure way to send employees running for new jobs. Pay payroll taxes. Be sure to calculate your payroll taxes accurately. The employer pays a portion of federal payroll taxes, 7.65% of wages, and the other half, another 7.65, is withheld from employee paychecks. Comply with labor laws. Know those labor laws. There are very precise regulations on work conditions and compensation that apply at the federal, state, and even local levels. These laws can be complicated, change regularly, and often burden restaurant operators to understand them and comply with them. At RASI, ensure your restaurant is protected with our dedicated compliance team, who understands the industry they serve, and they're there to help protect your valuable assets, employees, stakeholders, and business. How does software make payroll better? Our previous guidance will help effectively run payroll. In terms of what not to do, we strongly recommend against attempting to manage your payroll through manual processes of hand calculations and paper checks. Using payroll software is a vastly more accurate and streamlined process, saving you both time and money. So what does this all add up to? How a good payroll process can help your restaurant's profitability? The first benefit of a good payroll process is that it gets the money where it needs to go, on time, with accurate record keeping. Your employees will be pleased with the timely and consistent nature of their paychecks, and your payroll records will remain clean. Additionally, having an accurate picture of your restaurant's financial health is critical to safely withdrawing money from the business through owner distributions. Another benefit of software-based payroll process that has point-of-sale integration is your calculations on the amounts due to employees are more precise, with less room for that human error. Both underpayments and overpayments are undesirable and time-consuming. And with digital payroll, you'll have much less of them. Now we get to that age-old question. How do I select software to optimize my payroll? When selecting a payroll management system, it's critical that you choose a provider with experience within the restaurant industry. Hospitality businesses have unique characteristics such as tip distribution, and your payroll system needs to meet those needs. RASI Payroll has been purpose-built for the restaurant industry and integrates with leading point-of-sale solutions to provide smooth, error-free distributions of wages. RASI has the industry expertise to make substantive recommendations on operations to clients, such as helping operators identify specific shifts and job codes that can be optimized for higher profits. Thousands of restaurant operators have found peace of mind and higher profitability through RASI's payroll management system. Beyond payroll, RASI offers a comprehensive system that extends to include the tasks of your entire back office. We have solutions for accounting, financial reporting, and cash management, just to name a few. If you have any questions about how RASI can help out your restaurant, please feel free to reach out at any time, and we'd be happy to assist. That's it for this week's episode of the Tip Share. We greatly appreciate you joining us, and as always, we'll see you next week.